Hello and welcome, Pokemon fans. There are those who call me Bardbreaker, and it's time for another Sunday Pokemon Challenge run. Last week, we had a surprisingly easy time playing through Pokemon Crystal using just a Pineco. Thanks largely to rollout, but still surprisingly easy at times nonetheless. But let's try one that I'm convinced is going to be probably much harder. Today we're going to ask and answer the question, can I beat Pokemon Platinum using only a single Cherubi? Cherubi is a first stage grass Pokemon with a stat total of 275, putting it on equal footing with Nidoran female. Low stats overall, but our highest stat is our special attack, which is nice because all of our grass moves are going to be special. And that's one of the perks of this run. Our grass type will get us the same type attack bonus, and our higher special attack is going to boost that even more. That being said, grass is weak to quite a bit, including 2 members of the Elite Four, Fire and Bug, as well as one of the gym leaders, Ice. So it's not going to be a walk in the park by any means. We'll have to see how well we do. Let's take a look at our moveset. Our moveset is interesting. We get Tackle to start with. Growth will be great for our moves later. Magical Leaf is like Feint Attack, which can't miss. Takedown could be useful for a solid physical attack. I don't think we'll make use of Sunny Day and Solar Beam, but it's always an interesting possible combo we can use. TM-wise, we don't get Rollout this time, but we do get Energy Ball, Grass Knot, and Giga Drain. All pretty solid grass moves. We have access to Double Team should we need it, but hopefully we can finally do a run without having to cheese it with Double Team. At this point, I like to always remind you guys that I haven't actually started playing yet, and I write the script as we go. Everyone make your comments down below, and please the almighty algorithm, god of the YouTube algorithm, and to let me know whether you think I can do this or not. I'm thinking it's going to be very rough if we can do it at all, but I'm actually not entirely certain this is going to be possible. And lastly, before we get into it, let's go over our rules. I'll only be using a Cherubi in combat. I'll need some other Pokemon for HMs, but I won't be using any of those in combat. I won't be using any items in battle either. Items outside of battle, as well as held items in battle, will be allowed though. And lastly, I won't use any cheats, glitches, or exploits. So let's do it. So I started off the run by using the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Turtwig with Cherubi. This way our rival takes Chimchar, which will give us the hardest Pokemon to deal with. Saying of which, we get into an immediate rival fight with Tim, and it's a victory for us. We're slower than his Flaming Monkey, but he doesn't seem to want to attack, and after an initial scratch, he just goes for Leer over and over again. After we win, we can finally look at our cherries more closely. We're impish nature, so more defense and less special attack. That's probably the worst nature we could have rolled. There's only 3 natures out of the 24 that drop our special attack, and we got one. That's just a 1 in 8 chance, but whatever, we're gonna go with it, I'm not gonna reset. At least we're male, so I always have the option of using Attract on Cynthia if we get that far. Our ability is Chlorophyll, which boosts our speed and Sunshine. Pretty useless though, but may come in handy against the Flint match later. While we're here, let's take a look at our stats. I guess 1 and 9 are my lucky number. None of these are great, and according to an IV calculator, our HP rolled super low. So yeah, I guess we want a challenge, so we're gonna get one. Let's press on. After doing some housekeeping to get the run started through Platinum, we catch a Bidoof for Cut later, nicknaming it Snipticus the 14th, long may he cut, as well as a Starly for Fly later, nicknaming it Flapsity the 14th, long may he fly, and a Shinx for Strength later, nicknaming it Bicepticus the 14th, long may he lift. After making it to Jubilife City, it's time for another fight with Tim, which we win easily despite the fact he's added a Starly to his team as well. At level 19, we learn Magical Leaf, and thus it makes quick work of Rourke. Say that 5 times fast. Only Cranidos is fast enough to get off a hit, but each of his team goes down to a single Magical Leaf. Afterwards, we spend a bit of time leveling up for the Valley Wind Works, and while we're doing so, we catch ourselves a Buizel for Surf, Whirlpool, and Waterfall later, nicknaming him Aquades the 14th, long may he swim, and after a couple more levels, we're able to take down our first run with the Team Galactic Commanders. After defeating her Perugly and Zubat, we're able to proceed on into Eterna City. Upon arrival at Eterna City, it's a pretty easy walk through the grass gym. Turtwig sets up a Reflect, which can be annoying as it tanks our damage output, but we're still able to return our way through without a lot of damage ourselves. Roserade is second and gets off a couple of magical leaves of its own, but we wind up sealing the deal with a critical return. Our evolved form Cherrim is next, but doesn't stand much chance against our return. After this, we can take on some more Team Galactic shenanigans. Commander Jupiter is relatively easy. Zubat goes down in a single return. Trump Tank is a bit harder to deal with though, as it's relatively hefty boy and takes a few returns to whittle it down and even eats a berry at one point. We swap to Magical Leaf for the knockout and end the fight. Afterwards, we make our way down Cycling Road and into Hearthome City. We navigate our way through the gym and we get our way to Fantina. She's a Ghost-type specialist, and out first is her Duskull. We use the opportunity to set up 3 growths as she's mostly not a threat here. She does burn us with Will-O-Wisp, but as much as I want to feel the burn, I've equipped a Roustberry to cure the burn for now. 1 Magical Leaf, triple boosted with growth, easily takes down the Ghost. Next out is her Mismagius, which gets off a Shadow Ball but goes down to a single Magical Leaf. Guess it was in a damage range, as in the previous run, it could survive a triple boosted Leaf. Next out is Haunter, but we've got plenty of health left and we aren't confused, so we're good for a quick knockout. Tim ambushes us on our way out of town, but it's an easy 2-shot return sweep across his team. In fact, we even get paralyzed before his last Weasel, but a single Magical Leaf was easily enough to take him down. Even his Monferno didn't use a fire attack, and it does no Flame Wheel, it just went for Leer. Whatever, dumb AI is dumb sometimes. We make our way into Veilstone City, and after playing with some of the stacks of tires in the gym, we make our way to the gym leader. They're a fighting specialist, so we're at a neutral matchup. We set up a growth off the Metatite and then take it down on a return after we have our speed drop from a Rock Tomb. Next out is the Lucario, whose Steel type can make things a bit annoying to deal with. It's a back and forth for a few turns, but we take it down and we're looking pretty bad. Fortunately, we outspeed the Machoke and get off a grass knot we need for the victory in our 4th badge. After that, it's a quick jaunt down to Pastoria City where we're accosted by Tim outside the gym. And this is where Tim takes numerous attempts. Finally, I decide to go buy the Silk Scarf from the Veilstone Game Corner prize store. It's a held item that boosts the power of normal type moves by 20%, which will really help boost my return. I can't get any of the grass boosting items just yet, so this is all I can really do. Staravia is first, and our return brings him below half as he lands Wing Attack. Another return is all we need to bring his bird down. Second out is Monferno, and a return brings it low as we survive Flame Wheel, and another return finishes him. Roserade survives a return to just land Magical Leaf and goes down on a second return. With enough health left, we survive Weasel's Quick Attack, and a single Magic Leaf finishes the fight. Crasher Wake, the Water Gym Leader, is next. Gyarados is first, and a Grass Knot nearly brings it down as it hits back with Bite. Crasher uses a Hyper Potion, but a Grass Knot and a Magical Leaf are enough to bring it down. Floatzel is next, and it hits us with an Ice Fang for big damage, and we get flinched. We survive the next Ice Fang, but just barely, and we get flinched again. Ice Fang has a 10% chance to flinch, so it's actually only a 1% chance that it happens twice in a row. The AI, though, swaps to Aquajet to ensure he gets the priority to go first, but we miraculously survive on 1 HP to land our Magical Leaf for the knockout and the victory. That was close. Not like we couldn't have reset and done it again, but it's always great to win on the first attempt. And with 1 HP makes it even more amazing. At this point, the game kinda goes into filler mode. We have to chase down an Aqua Grunt due to a bombing, the logical thing for children to be tasked with doing. And then we play Package Delivery Simulator and deliver a trinket to Cynthia's grandma. Once we get to Celestic Town, it's time for a fight with Cyrus. I decide to bump my level up to 61. We're just not strong enough, and at level 61 we can finally get past the speed tie with his Sneasel and will always go first. Unfortunately, we just aren't having enough luck yet. And this is saying something about our encounters to come that I didn't really think about, but definitely should have. While we aren't necessarily going to have as much of an overall problem as we did with the Ghost Flying type Drifloon, Cyrus is going to be a major problem for us. Every member of his team has something that can hit us for super effective damage, and that's only going to get worse for us by the time we face him in the Distortion world. We're going to probably need to be level 100 before going down there. But let's cross that bridge in a bit when we come to it. So before grinding a ton, I decide to sell a bunch of crap I won't be using and buy the TM for Hidden Power from the Veilstone department store. An immune result from the Rhyhorn and a super effective result on the Goldeen confirm that we have an electric type for the second run in a row. This time though, that may actually be super helpful. 3 of Cyrus's Pokemon are weak to electric type. So at this point we decide to get rid of Return. It's been a solid move, but our physical attack is a fair bit weaker than our special, so I'd rather make use of our electric Hidden Power and stronger grass moves. We may need Return later though, and we can always go get it from the game corner if we absolutely have to. Now that we have an electric move, let's try Cyrus again. Sneasel is first and survives a Magical Leaf but goes for Slash. That's actually the first time it's done that instead of Ice Punch or Screech. Another Magical Leaf takes it down. Next out is Golbat and survives a Hidden Power on a Sliver. Another level or 2 would have probably done it. And it lands an Air Cutter for pretty good damage. Cyrus Hyper Potions up though, but that allows us 2 Hidden Powers to end the Golbat. Last out is his Murkrow, and I'm dubious if we can survive a Drill Peck, but fortunately our Hidden Power is enough to take it out in one shot. With that, we get the HM for Surf, and the game can progress again. We make it into Canalave City, and god damn it, I forgot about Tim again. We aren't getting past him at this level. I did have a plan for a move that I wanted to use later in the game, but we can't actually access one of the move tutors until the post-game, and of course that's the move tutor that we need. So, that move is out. Take your guesses below if you can think what move I was looking at. God, this run is starting to fall apart. I also can't access the underground for some reason, I guess because I'm not on a DS playing this. Time to grind and see if we can't just level up past our problems with brute force. So I spend most of my grinding time in the grass on Route 213 east of Canalave City. This little corner is full of Chadots, Gastrodons, and Floatzels, all of which are weak to my moveset, and it also has Mr. Mimes, but they aren't a problem either at my current level. They all offer pretty serviceable experience, and we're just around the corner from a Pokemon Center to replenish our power points. I decide to grind to level 75, knowing full well that I'm going to need the levels later anyway, so we might as well get a chunk of them out of the way here since we're stuck anyway. Once we reach level 75, we go back to the bridge and face off against Tim. We're quite a few levels higher now, and Aerial Ace doesn't even do half the damage to us despite the type effectiveness and the same type attack bonus. We set up 2 growths and take down the Staraptor with a hidden power despite its double team. Next out is Heracross, and we set up a 3rd growth as we weather a relatively weak Aerial Ace, since Stab doesn't apply with Heracross, before we take it out with another hidden power. Infernape is next, but we outspeed it now and get off hidden power for the one-shot knockout. Next up is Roserade, and despite the resistance to electricity, we do a lot of damage and it misses Grass Whistle, which allows us another hit for the knockout. His last Pokemon is Floatzel, and we easily finish it with a Magical Leaf. It's time for Byron. His Magneton is first and survives a Grass Knot to land a crit Flash Cannon. We're still in the fight though, so we hit another Grass Knot for the knockout. Steelix is next, but of course a single Grass Knot, which hits harder the heavier the Pokemon, takes it out. Bastiodon is last and survives a Grass Knot and heals with a berry and uses Iron Defense. Another Grass Knot brings it down though. Now it's time for some more filler crap involving more bombs, Team Galactic, and stuff that just children shouldn't be tasked with doing. After taking care of some of the filler material, we get back to business and it's time for the Snow Point City Gym. Sneasel is first, and we're in a speed tie despite the massive level gap, but we manage to take it down while not taking a lot of damage ourselves. Frostlass is next, and seems intent to just use Double Team over and over before we take it down with a Magical Leaf, which can't miss since it bypasses the evasion checks. Next out is Piloswine, which predictably goes down to a single Grass Knot. Abomasnow is last, and we get a marginal licking with hidden power before we decide to try and sneak in a Growth. His Avalanche doesn't actually do as much as I would have thought, and we're able to take it out with our boosted Growth. After making our way back to Veilstone City just in time for a meeting of Pokeholics Anonymous, we take on Cyrus again. Sneasel's first and lands an Ice Punch, and we go for Growth. It lands another as we take it out with Magical Leaf. Next out is Crobat, and it lands a Poison Fang for big damage, and we take it out with a critical hidden power. Last out is Honchkrow, but a single hidden power is enough to bring the bird down. Now we have to chase down Cyrus again to mount Crumpet, and our only main obstacle here is the dual battle with a couple of his commander lackeys. They start with a Bronzong each though, so it's really easy to just set up 6 Growths and then waltz through the rest of their battle. That being said though, it's time for the Distortion World, which I absolutely detest. There's nothing to battle there to level up, and it's just overall boring. We're close to being able to dump our rare candy and get to level 100, so we might as well do that now before we go, so we don't have to come all the way back and grind and then navigate the Distortion World again. Once we reach level 100, we jump in. We navigate through the Distortion World thanks to a walkthrough. I'm not sure how you could ever do this without one, and it's time for a Cyrus fight. Houndoom is first, and we outspeed it and start with a Growth. Houndoom goes for Will-O-Wisp for a burn but misses, only a 15% chance to do so. We respond with a hidden power for the knockout. Crobat is next, and it's fast and lands a Cross Poison for surprisingly weak damage, and we take it out with hidden power. Next out is Honchkrow, but a single hidden power brings it down. Next out is Weavile, and it hits a Fake Out, and we get the flinch. On the next turn, it lands an Ice Punch, which freezes us, and this is looking bad. Fortunately for us, though, we thaw immediately and are able to attack and land a Magical Leaf for the knockout. Last out is Gyarados, but being quad weak to electricity, all we need is one hidden power for the knockout. I know we were pretty over-leveled there, but honestly we only won that thanks to some good luck. If Will-O-Wisp had burnt us, or Cross Poison had poisoned us, or if that freeze had lasted even one more turn, we'd have been in real trouble. Our journey isn't over though, we still have to face Cynthia later, who's going to be rough, but before we can even do that, we have to get past 2 members of the Elite Four that we're weak to. While Cyrus may not have been as tough as he was during the Drifloon run, this still is not going to be a cakewalk across the finish line. Now I believe we just have one final badge to collect, and then Victory Road, and then finally the Elite Four. But before all that, let's take on Volkner at the final gym. He's an electric specialist, which will resist, so we shouldn't have much trouble, right? Yeah, about that. We actually lose twice. Despite being twice the level of his team. Jolteon paralyzing us right out of the gate is a big downer, and it's just not a good sign of things from that point on. Raichu knows Signal Beam, for some reason, and the Luxray knows Fire Fang, so even in the electric gym we have to watch out for super effective moves against us. On the 3rd attempt we equip a Cherry Berry to cure our paralysis, and from there it's actually pretty easy. Just a Magical Leaf beatdown to victory. But man, that paralysis really was all the difference there. Even if we were breaking through most of the time and hitting it, that speed drop was really doing us in. Now that that's over though, we can make our way to Victory Road and on to the Elite Four. Victory Road is uneventful, and when we get to the Pokemon League, it's time for our last run-in with Tim. And honestly, he's not much to report. We set up a Growth on the Staraptor and then another Growth on the Heracross that swapped in with U-Turn, and from there it's a one-shot sweep with Hidden Power or a Magical Leaf. The only one that withstood a move was Roserade, and she just took 2 hits. Beyond that, even the Snorlax went down to a single Grass Knot. Now it's on to the Pokemon League. Bug Trainer Twink Aaron time, and we use the time against his Yanmega to set up 3 Growths as it just keeps setting up Double Team. Despite using 4 Double Teams, we're able to hit our Hidden Power on the first attempt. From there, it's an easy Hidden Power sweep. And yes, 3 Growths was necessary, as 2 would not have gotten us past the Heracross, and its Mega Horn is brutal. Having beaten Aaron though, it's on to Bertha. And the ground trainer Bertha is just as easy as you'd expect. Her ground types are all weak to our grass moves, so we waltz over them with ease. Gliscor does get off a Fire Fang, but we get through it without incident. Speaking of fire, now it's time for the fire trainer Flint. I finally decided to swap off Grass Knot for Double Team. We don't have all that many heavy Pokemon left to face, so Grass Knot isn't going to be as effective as it has been. I had hoped to avoid Double Team, but there's just no way to get past Flint without it. It takes a few attempts, but we finally get a run where we can get off 4 Double Teams and 3 Gross, and after that it's a one-shot sweep with our Electric Hidden Power. It didn't take as many attempts as some of my previous runs, but that was rough, and it did cost us our Grass Knot. We do have Giga Drain in our pocket though, so we do have some options left. Lucian, the Psychic Trainer, is next, and out first is Mr. Mime. We set up a Double Team for safety and then stack in a couple of growths as Mr. Mime misses a couple Psychics and just sets up Reflect and Light Screen. Finally, we go on the offensive and take it down with Magical Leaf. From there, it's pretty easy. Espeon is faster than us and makes things interesting with a couple of Signal Beams, but Bronzong, Alakazam, and Gallade all fall victim to our Leaves of Magic, and with that, we've beaten the 4th member of the Elite Four. But now comes the real fun. Now it's time for Cynthia, so I heal up and use a Max Elixir to replenish my power points. Spiritomb is out first, but for as devastating as it was against Drifloon in our first Platinum playthrough, this time it's actually not really problematic. We actually take the opportunity to set up all 6 Double Teams and all 6 Growths. It's a regular strategy in this case, but it's about all we have to work with. After all 6 of each are in place, we find ourselves with only about a third of our HP remaining, but hopefully that's going to be enough. With that in place, we use a Hidden Power to knock out the Ghost. Coming out next is her Togekiss, which is part flying and easily goes down to a single super effective Hidden Power. Roserade is next, and even though it resists both of our damaging attacks, a Hidden Power still brings it down to yellow and keeps it out of Hyper Potion range as it misses Sludge Bomb, which allows us another Hidden Power to end it. Garchomp is next, but a single Magical Leaf brings it down. Milotic is next, but it's Water type, so a super effective Magical Leaf is all we need here. Last out is her Lucario, which is part Steel, so it resists Grass, but even with the resistance aside, we're able to take it out with a single Magical Leaf and end the fight. And that's it, folks. We've done it. We've made it into the Hall of Fame with just a Cherubi. I honestly had my doubts from the start of this run, but once again, Growth and Double Team show their might. About halfway through the run, I was actually deciding to use Rollout when I saw it could learn it from a move tutor, but you don't unlock that portion of the game until you get the National Dex in the end game. At that point, I'm not even sure why they bother having a move tutor that deep in the post game, so we couldn't get to it anyway. But still, Growth and Double Team led the charge, and that was actually pretty neat. We had a few slowdowns in parts, but overall this run went better than I thought it would. Thanks for watching, guys. I really don't know what next week's challenge is going to be. Again, I sort of play things by ear as I go, so I don't really have a plan for what runs I plan to do and when. If you guys have any suggestions you'd like to see, hit me up in the comments down below or on Twitter. And if you liked the video, please hit that like button and subscribe. Both are good for the YouTube algorithm, and please algor us. In any event, guys, thanks for watching, and until next time, go catch 'em all.